Welcome back, guys. It's the Brothers Geek Out podcast. It's episode 162. I usually do the plug-in where I say that we're on all platforms because I can't remember half of them, but we're on all platforms, guys, and on YouTube. So make sure you check us out. I want to say a massive thank you to our guest who's come on again, Dax. Massive thank you, dude. We've got G-Man, Singapore. Dax is in Hong Kong. So how's it going, boys?
Good. Thank you for having me again. I love coming on the show, to geek out. It's awesome.
Awesome. We got a global one today, man. Hong Kong, Singapore, and London. Loving it. All good, brother. Everything's good. Just chilling.
No, it's good. It's good. We got the Brothers Geek Out first advert coming out on Monday on another podcast. So I did a little, not even a trailer, like I'd done an intro trailer, but I did a little voice advert. I've never done that before in my entire...
You know what, Kim? It didn't work when you sent it, man. I want to hear it, man. Why don't you just give it to us live, bro? Let's hear it. Let's hear what you had to say.
No, I can't do that. What I'll do is I'll send the clip, hopefully. I'm going to try and record it and then I'll send it again. But I don't know why the file didn't work. But yeah, so it's going to be played on the Legends podcast, which is like it's like a superhero game they play online on a podcast they do weekly. So they reached out to us and said that if we could jump on a podcast, and I was like, perfect, let's do this, man. Swap some ads. So yes, so that's the most interesting thing that happened this week. I mean, there's loads more that's happened in general, but massive thank you to everybody who's listening in on the podcast streaming services like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm starting to see the views and the interaction pop up, so I want to say a massive thank you on that. And then we've been doing the special guest shows as well with the Passion. I finally got a name for it, bro. I'm just going to call that the Geek Out session.
Oh, all right, yeah, easy.
Yeah,
fits the narrative, fits our stories, and easy, nice.
Exactly that. So,
but yeah, a new one. I just heard the one with your boy Comic Con. What's he call himself? Is it called Comic On, right? Yeah.
Yeah, get your Comic On. Yeah, that's
get
right.
Your comic. Yes, I just saw that now, which was quite interesting. You got any other ones coming out?
There's 3 more episodes to come, but I'm gonna release them out on a weekly basis, and then I need to start. The thing is about these podcasts is the fun thing about it and the addictive thing about them is you're getting that interest from other people, but you're opening up new doors and opportunities along the way as well, because you don't know along the way. You just find, like, having Archer back on here again has brought up 2 projects, which is directing a music video and working as a collaborator on one of his clothing lines. So it's weird. Some projects have come slowly out of it. So I see it as opportunity, man, and a moment to geek out with people. So I'm absolutely loving those episodes at the moment. So want to get some more in. So I was going to ask you guys, if you know people that can motivate and inspire the rest of the listeners, then let's start planning them in. That'd be great.
Yeah, I need to speak to people. I'd love to introduce you too.
Awesome.
It'd be awesome. Personally, I love what you guys do. I know you guys have been doing this for quite some time. You just said 162, right?
That's right.
So 162. So I mean, that shows dedication, and you guys have come a long way. This kind of, especially bridging 2020 to 21, kind of moving into the realm of like talking to other inspiring creatives and whatnot, just kind of was the way to go. And I think you guys have done an awesome job doing that. I like listening to your podcasts or watching the videos. So yeah, cool. It's awesome.
Awesome, man.
Thank you,
man.
Thank you.
I do need to reach out to some of my martial art friends to see if they'll jump on and just talk about some of the coaches and whatnot. See if they want to jump on, talk about some martial art philosophies and their journeys and stuff. I'll reach out to them. I know they're just crazy busy and stuff, but let me try and reach out to some of them and see if they're up for it. And we can try and sort something out.
Awesome. Cool. All right, man. I mean, you did say you want to touch lightly on current situations in the world at the moment. There's so much going on, but I think the most important part, and what's been happening a lot, and I know it's been on a lot of people's minds, is what's happening in Palestine at the moment now. I mean, I know we had an in-depth conversation last week about it, and I don't want to, as I say to the viewers, guys, these are our own views and opinions. It's not something we preach to other people or anything. We just kind of see it as we don't want to see nobody get hurt in the process. But this week was quite. I mean, from what I saw, that there was a ceasefire for like 11 days or something like that, which I still don't believe because there is still footage coming out of other things happening. But I think the problem at the moment now is what we're getting from mainstream, and then even what we're getting on social media. Some of it's recycled stuff as well. So I don't know, man. What you been listening to? What you've been hearing about it this week?
Well, I think the positive stuff is like you were saying, man, the power of social media and social sharing, which has been great because, like we discussed last week, right? The mainstream media only puts out one narrative, one side of the story, which is fucked up, and that doesn't give the opportunity for regular people to, see the whole story and make their own minds up on whatever they believe or whatever they support. And the only way for to do that is to give the true story. But I think the power of social sharing has changed things a lot compared to, I can't remember the last time they conflicted. I think it was like 8-10 years ago, where we just knew one narrative, like Hamas attack and Israel defended. That's it. But this time we know that actually that wasn't the truth, because there's the situation now, because Hamas didn't fire a first rocket until 25 days. That there was 25 days before Hamas threw a first rocket. Before that, all this stuff about and I hate using the word Israeli. I'm trying to find a different word, but then people, and the reason why, the reason why I don't want to say Israeli, because that paints everyone with a bush.
Of course,
and we know
of course.
as Muslims, we get that the worst, right? One idiot does something and he happens to say Allahu Akbar, and then all the Muslims turn out to be terrorists. So that's why I try not to use say Israelis. But anyway, the forces broke into the mosque and all that sort of stuff, and then Hamas threw the rocket, right? So all of this was thrown off the news of the mainstream medias. But with the power of like social sharing, we're getting the full story. And because how powerful it is and how much it's changing, and because of the movements we've been having, I think the Black Lives Matter movements and all the other stuff happening, it's kind of inspired this, and all the protests has been happening across the world, like UK, US, and Japan, and all over the Middle East. It's the propaganda that the mainstream media puts out. They're answering for it now, man. It's not, they're changing their stories. The people are knowing, people are getting wise up. But I did want to just say one thing, and you might have saw my Insta, man. I was like, one thing that's pissed me off is like innocent Jewish people are getting beaten up like in America and whatnot just because they're Jewish. I'm like, whoever's doing that, you people are part of the problem too. If you're attacking innocent Jewish people just because they're Jewish, you're part of the fucking problem. Like that shit needs to stop. So again, as usual, always these opportunists come out to come and to start doing like bullshit stuff like attacking innocent people. So that I found quite horrible, man, within the situation. But anyway, like at least this time, Palestine has a better voice, especially for all us local people. Putting out the news from the perspective that we're seeing. And that did have a little ceasefire, but then straight away, I don't know, the mosque got attacked again. But yeah, man. I mean, I've seen other sort of stuff, like Ireland stopped dealing with with Israel. Like you saw the people in Italy working at the ports. They decided that they're not gonna, send anything. You know what I mean? People are standing up, and that's what needs to happen. Like these nations need to stand up. I saw something about Maldives that's cut ties with Israel. Like the only way these sort of things are gonna get fixed is if global countries and whatnot really stick up and kind of cut ties with Israel and let them know like this is serious. Like, and don't get me wrong, sorry, I'm babbling on again, but I got thoughts on my text express. But don't get me wrong, man. I don't want no innocent people getting killed on both sides, right? Even though we know most of it's happening on the Palestinian side, but innocent Israeli people, I do believe like they should have a country of their own and have a state of their own. Like that vision that they got is very wrong, and the way they're doing it. But the general people, right? Of course, they have a right to have their own country and all that sort of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way the government is doing it, and I want to say the terrorist government is handling it and trying to steal land. That's not right. But in general, of course, I feel like they should have their own land for their own people. But it should be a land where anyone's welcome, just like every other country. Just to counter that, I know people might say, "Oh, what about Mecca? It's only for Muslims." Blah blah blah. You have to understand, like that is a religious site. It's not a tourist spot, right? And millions of Muslims go there, especially during Hajj, and do the pilgrimage. And there's always like stampedes and whatnot. Could you imagine if you open that up to tourism? It'll be way worse, right? But I'm saying if the Jewish if their community wanted to have a religious site where no one else can visit except Jews, that's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like the way that it's all happening and the way they're just trying to steal the land from the Palestinians and all that sort of stuff is the wrong way about it. But if they wanted their land, who could say no? Like, I don't think it should be no. It's just got to be done the right way. But obviously, it's be done the wrong way. But I don't know. Again, it's complicated. There's so much to it. Advise, go do your own research. I don't know,
That's
Dax.
right.
What do you like? What's your thoughts
Yeah.
on it, bro? Like, without getting, what's
Yeah.
your thoughts?
So, like again, I'll basically say that for the past couple of weeks, I've kind of switched off. I know I've heard about what's been going on. I've checked out a few headlines, but actually, what hasn't actually been the past couple of weeks. I would say already starting from 2020, I kind of gave up on the news in a way, right? And that kind of bridged with social media too. So of course, like I try to stay up to date, but I feel like, especially someone that came from media, again, you touched on it before, G, is that, everyone has got a narrative, and, they're always trying to push that. And, like, there's this saying, like in politics, where people say, never let a good crisis go to waste. And I just kind of feel that in 2020, during the height of, like, let's say, everything from Hong Kong riots to Black Lives Matter to, for example, Yellow Jackets to everything going on until today. Like, for example, the Australia bushfires, Amazon fires, to, like, it's just nonstop. And the news is always, churn out crisis after crisis, right? So just I feel like social media has also taken advantage of a lot of that. I find that everything is now crisis, donate, repeat kind of thing. And that's partially the reason why I'd switched off, just because, I kind of had it with all this. Now, obviously, the Israeli and Palestine situation has been going on for years. War is never good. I come from a place where I don't really try to pick a side, because I understand that there's always different perspectives.
That's right.
And, like, at the end of the day, like, we're all human, and we all go through, we all have emotions, right? So certain people could be affected, which could cause them to kind of, like, latch on to, like, feelings of, like, anger and hate, while other people, may not understand it. It's a touchy subject, I guess. But in a way, I feel like the current situation would just be like, it's unfortunate, and no one wants anything to happen bad to anyone. I can't really, say too much, because, I'm not on either side. My opinion.
No, of course.
My opinion would be that I kind of wish that people could come together and kind of, my perspective on news is, yes, like, of course, news likes to spin, a lot of current events that are tragic and bad, because it sells. Like, a lot of this stuff sells. But I come from a background where I believe that, you got to put more good out into the world.
That's right.
And I think that certain people can have the power to do that. So, I'd say currently I'm glad there's a ceasefire. I'm glad that there's peace. It's probably, it's not going to be finished. It's not going to be, how would you put it? Resolved.
Yeah.
Right? Like that. But I think, so long as, we kind of try to move forward, hopefully things can get better. To be honest, there's one thing I'll kind of bring up. During my time at National Geographic, I was fortunate to meet an explorer who was from Palestine, and he talked about, for example, like, both, like, bringing communities together, And what was interesting about his stories that he told was that he would teach both Palestinian and Israeli kids football, and he'd put them on the team together. And during the time that they played football, like all their problems went away, right? And basically they would come together as a community, as a team to play. Now, when you think about things like this, right, you then wonder, like, why does the world try to divide us, right? When in reality, like, we're all one and the same. And, when we find common ground, we can work off of that, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
If we can work off of a common ground, then maybe we can move towards a more positive future. So those are the kind of stories that I like to read upon, because they're stories of hope. And unfortunately, this one is not a story of hope. So
no, of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. If we was able to see, in the lens of kids, the world in the lens of kids, it probably might be a better place, because there is no freaking, they're innocent minded. You know what I'm saying? It's the adults, it's the politicians, it's the barbarian of being warlords, and you know what I mean. It's still that old school way, man. Power and rulership and all this sort of shit that gets us in the same sort of thing. I did want to just say, because there's that Malcolm X quote. I think it's so relevant. And it's the most relevant quote when it comes to these sort of things in regards to media. It's like, the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and make the guilty innocent. Media has the power to influence minds, ideas, behaviors, and the attitudes of the masses. Now, that's exactly the mainstream media. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the one benefit I do think of the social media is whatnot, it's changing that narrative a little bit, because it's, not everyone's just seeing the mainstream. But I think, like, Dax, what you're saying, I think that's a good thing. I would never fault you for not switching on, and you should never be forced to pick a side. That's what we were saying last week, kids. Like, do your own research. Yes, it's complicated. If you don't know much about it, you can say it's complicated. If you want to look at it simplistically, as I guess based on the opinions that we have, you can just say it the way we see it, like people being occupied, all that sort of stuff. I won't go into it. So maybe I see it from a biased perspective. But again, you have to remember, right? Everything that we're seeing on the media and social sharing and all that sort of stuff is perspectives of people who we like, who we follow, what we want to listen to, what we want to hear, what we don't want to hear, all that sort of stuff, right? Like you said, those kids were playing together. Like, there's probably millions and millions of Israelis and whatnot that are just like, I don't want none of this shit. I don't like none of this stuff. But what we're seeing is just the evil stuff. Someone said something bad, so they're going to show us that. Someone said something, you know what I mean? They're not going to just show like what the regulars were saying. That's why I say, like, notice when I do post stuff on social media, I very carefully pick, like, I don't want nothing saying Israel done this and Israel done that, because I don't want to paint them all in the same brush. So I'm very, very pick and choosy on that. But I do think, the positive stuff was really great. I don't know if they'll ever come to a resolution, but the world needs to step in. It's not just, you can't just leave it to them, say, oh, they'll figure it out. No, the world needs to step in.
That's right.
There's so much more to it. I feel like we could fucking talk about it all day. But yeah, I don't know, Kibbs, if you want to just give your thoughts, and maybe we could just go on to the geeky stuff.
I think I've finished my piece on this, and I know that my brother Ash, and our sister-in-law, and my sister, her hubby, went to the march yesterday. We've got some charity events happening soon as well, so which I'll plug away on social media as well later on. And we could only do our part. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want to see nobody get hurt.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody, innocent, non-innocent,
children, no need, man. It's
I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to see nobody get hurt. I've always seen it as, with the way we were raised up anyway. We're coming from a background where we were taught not to judge and not see color or race or religion. We were raised to see the person.
The individuals,
the individual. You know what I mean? And look, we've got a massive circle of friends that are from different parts of the world. This proves it. You know what I mean? This proves it, because I'm not seeing someone from Hong Kong or someone from Singapore, or someone with a Bangladeshi or Christian background or whatever. Like, it's you. There's a mutual connection there that we have that gets us along. There's no hatred there. That's you. We kind of see the more purer things to society, where there's other evil doings in the process as well. But I mean, I'm gonna leave it as that. Guys, if you did want to hear me and Gilman do a deep dive, then check out the previous episode 161, and you'll get to hear our thoughts on that one. But the main reason Dax is on here is because we got geeky news, man. Let's get to the geeky news again. And I know you've been switched off for a couple of weeks. You've been working hard, and I saw some of the trailers and photography come up on your website. How's it going, dude? How's that stuff all going together? Because I know it's hard work.
It's you know, it's tough, but in the end, like, you know, I think for me, like I said, yeah, I switched off, and I got to this point where it was like, you know what, I just want to be me, and I just want to do things for me, and get back into the creative aspect of just being creative. So yeah, I've been putting some content out there. I've been kind of re-looking at my photography. To be honest, I've been more selective with some of my pictures now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm slowly starting to realize that, like, I just want to get rid of my Instagram pages because, like, you know, like half of the time, like half of the photos I post is just complete crap. And like,
No, man, come on.
No, but what I mean is just it's like, it's interesting because, like, you know, obviously technology has allowed us to kind of get creative, and has allowed us to kind of post photos and do it quick. That the reality is, it's like I feel like I ended up losing touch with, like, you know, really looking for the shot, and then trying to find something that I'm happy with. And I think that's what like, you know, the past couple of weeks, what I've been focusing on, like, is like, am I happy, like, with the creative? You know, regardless of other people's opinions. Everyone's always gonna have opinion on, like, you know, how
you're looking at quality now, ain't you?
Yeah, how you can improve it. You know, like what they think about it. You know, does it, you know, like, does it speak to them? Say something about the picture. Write something. You know, I started experimenting with, like, just posting pictures without copy or hashtags. So I was like, does every picture have to have something, like, you know, like something said, you know, because a picture paints 1,000 words anyway.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
You know, can't just. And so in the end, I've been kind of working on my portfolio again, and as I'm, like, looking at these images, I'm like, damn, like, you know, if I just took the time to kind of look at half of the pictures I took, and spent some time just kind of, like, really kind of, like, treating it a little bit better, then they could really pop good. So yeah, I've been playing around with photography, just kind of doing whatever interests me, really.
No, it's good.
Awesome.
It's good. You're revisiting. It's always good. I have my moments like that as well, dude. I came off just before the fasting month for like a couple of weeks, and it was actually quite refreshing. And in the process, I got to create a lot of stuff. And then I realized, you know, like, as you said, with social media, it's another job in its own, because you feel like you have to post something. I've realized now I don't have to do that no more now.
Yeah. And it's bizarre because I've been going out with a good friend of mine, just to kind of, like, explore Hong Kong again. Of course, like, you know, you see things on Instagram, and everyone, you know, they'll grab your typical picture, your must-do pictures in certain locations. But as soon as I get there, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, how do I look at this from a different angle and take a different photo? You know, especially not with me in it. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. Of course,
I'll probably do one selfie here or there, but the reality is, like, the photos, like, I like to take are not like your normal photos. And I try to approach it with a different perspective, but at the same time, just be more authentic, right? You know, like, in the commercial world, everyone in every business will say, "Oh, I want like authenticity," but they don't really want authenticity. They just want to boost that kind of, you know, like, beautify.
Yeah, they don't even know what that means. Just nice words to say in a boardroom meeting and shit, like authenticity and uniqueness and shit. It's like, what the fuck? But you know what? Hong Kong is the perfect place for photography, man. Listen, even though I left Hong Kong, and, you know, whatever beefs I have with Hong Kong, we'll keep that between us. But it was visually a stunning place. I mean, Kibla, you went there.
No, you
You've
know
seen
what?
it. I've
I was going.
explored around. Hong
Yeah.
Kong is visually stunning. From the building landscape, from the natural landscape, from the different islands, it is stunning from
Yeah.
that perspective.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great, and Kibla, you got inspired, like, when you came down there. This all started from that trip, right? When you
It did.
came
It did.
down,
It did.
and
First
you got
time,
inspired.
Yeah.
2015, was it?
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah.
No, 16, because I moved
2016.
2015. Yeah.
You know what, saying
Um,
that, because I was going through the pictures now of Hong Kong, and like when we went to see like Buddha and stuff like that, and I was looking at the images, because a lot of the photos when I first came around are not pictures. Like there was the odd ones of me and you in the photos, but it was just scenery. And I was like, shit, I got some really nice photos when I was there. And like,
yeah.
there's this one epic one I've got. Like, I don't know which part of the mountain that we walked past where Buddha was, but it's like you could see the water and the corner of the mountain where the hill where he's on, where
Yeah,
Buddha's on,
yeah.
and it looks gorgeous, man. I'm gonna put a picture of it up on here, guys, because I've been going through my phone and deleting stuff, and I just found the photos from Hong Kong, and I realized that was the trip that inspired me to get back into art, to get back into just do stuff that we love, to be honest, and share it with people.
Nice and
It
inspiring. It's a beautiful. Listen, man. No matter what I say about Hong Kong, the one positive I'll say is the most visually stunning place, and I think
mm,
naturally and creatively, like creatively meaning like humans created like buildings and landscapes and shit. It's wicked. And same with the pictures, man. I used to be Mr. Selfie King, bro, back in the days. Like Dax knows, George is a selfie king now. To this day, my man's 40 years old, trying to get the best selfies, duck facing himself. Sorry, George, I'm just getting at you. But I used to be that guy, bro. But now I do not take pictures of myself. It's always sceneries or objects or whatever.
Yeah.
Like like even when I'm training, I don't take a picture of me training and sweating. I take a picture of the equipment. Say this is what you know. What I mean, I'm very maybe I'm very what's the word, insecure about myself now. Whereas before I was a lot more confident. Now I'm less confident about
yeah,
myself.
yeah. Don't stress out too much on
It's
that.
interesting because some of my favorite photographs have been just candid moments. Like it's not really about like even the iconic like let's say like kind of must-go place. But it's more about like the community that's there.
That's right.
And it's a tricky thing because even as any photographer will tell you, you don't just kind of go up straight up to someone and just snap a photo of them. You should generally talk to them, try to get to know them, and see whether or not it's okay to get a photo. But then at the same time, when you're trying to do like candid photography, like it's those moments you have to snap right there, then and there. Otherwise, you miss it because if you try to replicate it, then
It doesn't look authentic.
yeah, authentic. So yeah, it's kind of from a creative aspect. That's also why I've been like, I wouldn't say I switched off. I just wanted to get back out there and kind of just get creative.
That's good. That's so good. So good.
Nice.
Doing.
Sounds good,
Definitely
bro.
so
Well, good
good.
luck with everything you're doing, man. Just keep at what you're doing, and things will keep. That's it, man. Just keep doing it, man. Keep moving forward. Always forward, bro.
Yeah.
Who was that? That was Luke Cage. What was the guy's name? Barbershop dude.
Forgot.
Basic. That was his
But
thing, though, right?
it's actually
Forwards. Always
stand-
forwards.
Anyway,
Yeah, I guess
it's
so.
gonna stand these lines. I actually found that image yesterday, and it was like if it's time to go, it's time to go. Always forward. So
Yeah.
Emotional.
yeah,
Cool,
definitely.
man. What's been going on? What's on the geeky news, bro? I sent you a couple things.
Did send me a new couple of things. Let's start off with John Boyega. John Boyega. Hopefully, I said that right. And I know he lives local, so he'll probably find me and be like, "How you say my name wrong, dude?"
One of the
Attack of the
boys.
Blocks 2, man. I
Yeah.
love the first one,
Yeah.
but second one in the making. Dax, what did you think of the first one?
I hadn't seen it in a long time, but when it came out, it was fresh. And for me, like I loved it. So to hear that Attack of the Block 2 is coming out is awesome. I was doing some quick reading again because he gave me a heads up on a couple of things. So I found it interesting that Attack of the Block 2 is coming out 10 years later. And obviously if it's John Boyega's first film, it's great that he's coming back, and he's, you know, again, an actor of his stature. You know, like to recognize his first role and want to come back and continue is always promising. You know, but yeah, I loved Attack the Block simply because of the time. I didn't know what it was, but when it came out fresh. It, like, to me, you know, it's interesting. There's I don't know if you've seen on Netflix. Netflix had done something like Vampires in Brooklyn or something.
Yeah, the Bronx. Vampire. Yeah.
The Bronx, right? Yeah. So I mean, like, sometimes I just love these films, right? You know, like, just because it's like, dude, like, it's life, and you got to picture the elevator pitch, right?
That's right. Yeah.
It's a bunch of kids, you know, and then aliens fucking land in the middle of the fucking city, right? Or in this case, like, you know, like vampires just take over the Bronx, right? You know, and most people just go, yo, what? And you're like, yeah, you know, like, don't worry, man. Like, it's off the fucking chain, right? To be honest, like, I would have thought that like vampires in the Bronx or whatnot, it's not as good as Attack the Block. Attack the Block is awesome, and it just, to me, it seems like, you know, again, the first film, you know, the creatures kind of reminded me of a New Age Critters in a way.
That's right. Yeah,
and you know, this idea where you had these like young kids again, but in this case, they're more teenage like. As opposed to your Steven Spielberg's like 80s like group of kids, like Goonies style group of kids, or even Ready Player One in the future. You know, this is the streets of London, right?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And, like, you know, it's a whole different ball game over there, right?
Of course.
And you know, the comedy, you know, to the you know, like, just the aesthetic towards, like, you know, the language. I just, you know. Like, the film was awesome. So Attack the Block 2, I think, is awesome. Off the top of, again, John Boyega in 2020, fearing, you know, after speaking out, whether or not, like, he would have any issues, like, kind of, you know, like, whether or not him speaking out during, like, his activism would cause problems for his career. Clearly not, right? He's been working on a couple of projects.
He has.
He's awesome. So I can't wait to see it. The sequel, I'd love to.
Yeah. Should be good. I don't think his activism will cause any problems, and I think, in fact, it might even help. I don't want to pull it on wokeness or whatnot, but he's talking for a good cause, a true cause. So I don't think that will hurt. And a lot of people did support him. And if you don't support that, whatever you think of Black Lives Matter movement or whatnot, like, the main core of it is true. So you can't really argue against that. But yeah, anyway, the movie, yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm getting into it. Yeah, that's what Dax, you're saying, that London, bro, because it's related to us, right? They're from around the corner. I don't know if the movie was shot in South London or whatever, but that's where we're from. That's how we talk. You know, I'm trying to say, like, that's the environment so to us, it was just like, oh, they talk just like us. It's not like the regular acting movie, you know, that's the accent they have for all the movies. It's not that, it's our accent, and they talk the way we talk, and it was cool, man. I enjoyed it. I mean, you mentioned like the Vampire in the Bronx. I mean, that one again was enjoyable, and that reminded me a little bit of Lost Boys. I had little glimpses of Lost Boys and whatnot. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see because John Boyega is what, 10 years older now. Back then he was seen as they were just teenage kids, little, as we would call them, kids like street rats. You know what I'm saying? They were ratties, but they were hoodman, what they call roadmans and whatnot.
Yeah.
After 10 years, is he still a roadman in the movie? Have they matured up? Are they different? It'll be interesting to see what sort of way they take it.
No, of course, definitely. I think what John's done, coming back to this, is, you know, it's a part of his legacy.
Yeah.
And that's great that he's come back on this project, and I'm glad that they're doing something like that. And it's always refreshing, because it's like, you know, it's like Stallone returning to Rocky or Rambo, isn't it?
Yeah.
each actor has something that they could always kind of return to, because that's my beginning. That's where I started. I'll never forget that that movie is going to be a part of my life. Going on forward. Of course, I'm going to jump on number 2, and even if there's a number 7 down the road, I'm going to jump on it because that's me. You know what I mean? So I genuinely love the fact that movie is. I love that movie as well. I love the concept of it. As you said, Dax, as well. The creatures were like a new age critics as well.
Yeah. Because I
so-
mean, if you remember, like even so again, like 10 years from now, like what could have like okay, so the kind of style of filming, even though it was 10 years ago, so it was still like is what 2010 or something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was still like I said back then, it was fresh, it was edgy. The reason why I brought up Vampires in the Bronx is just because again, it kind of fit in the same genre, but it's just in America, it's not as cool as it is in London, right? Like you guys said, with just it's just around the corner on the streets that you grew up, and that's how you talk, and then that's how it is, right? But then this kind of new, fresh, edgy kind of film back then kind of reminds you of like, again, 1980s horrors, right? Like
That's
I said,
right. Yeah.
like Critters, right? So 10 years from now, like what could, I don't know, throwing out ideas, like in Critters, they obviously had bounty hunters, right? And
That's
the
right.
bounty
Yeah.
hunters from space had to come. Like, again, like does it go like completely out there that like freaking, like something, like they introduce something like that? Who knows, but in the end, I'm excited to watch the second.
No, definitely am. No, exciting times. DC came out with a lot of news this week as well. So they've got 2 animations coming out. They've got one which is Superman: The Adventures of Superman. Is it The Adventures of Superman? I can't remember. It's a Superman one. It looks like it's based in like high school or just before he goes into college, I think. And it's got the voice actor that plays. He's from The Boys. He plays the. I can't remember his name now, man. It's gone right in my head. He's the kid who joins in, whose girlfriend gets killed.
Yeah, okay.
So he's going to be voicing, what do you call it? But then the big announcement was that they're going to. It's Injustice. We're going to get an Injustice animation.
Yeah.
Is it an animation? It's not the. I thought it's not the movie. It's not a real life movie.
No, it's going to be an animation. Okay. It's Warner Brothers animation. Yeah. So, dude, I absolutely loved what they've done with their previous animations. I feel like they have a better, what's the word? Timeline, chronic. It works together really well. Their animation is always on point. I love the artwork. I love the stories that they've picked up. The one thing they do is they do change it a little bit to adapt it to the screen. I mean, you can't put a 500-page graphic novel into like a 90-minute animation. That's going to be always hard to do. But that, I'm looking forward to that, man. Injustice is a game. So
the game came out before the comics, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So like it's interesting because at the same time, it's like, in the world of cinema, like games, that turn into films never really do too well. But
that's right. Yeah.
Sometimes some do, but this is DC, right? So at the end of the day, and again, going direct to not direct to DVD, going the animated route for for direct to consumer. That in itself, like DC's been doing well since forever. Last time we were talking about Zack Snyder and his Snyder Cut, right? Like basically, we already touched upon it there. That again, like could Injustice, continue in an animated setting, and now it is, right?
Yeah. That's right.
But probably most likely to follow the video game as
yes, definitely would.
Yeah. Let's see what happens, man. It should be interesting, man. I mean, look, the fans are not giving up on release the Snyder Cut or the Snyderverse, restore the Snyderverse. Fans are not giving up. You never know, Warner Brothers might budge and give it to him. But Anyway, like I love their animations too. The animations are awesome. I think Warner Bros does great animations. Not even just that, there was the Mortal Kombat one that they done, which was awesome. They're really good at those animations. Really good. They're easy to watch, and yeah, like I think animations are easy. I think what you notice, like when you do an animation, when I'm not easy, that's like I know what I'm doing, but when I'm like there's certain scene, there's certain characteristics and comedy, humor, whatever you in an animation, it just works. You know what I'm trying to say? That you get away with it rather than certain things you want to put in a live movie and whatnot. So yeah, no, DC man, keep smashing it with your animations, and let's see how the movies turn out, because Snyder Cut is out now, and that has, I think that's put a massive benchmark on whatever you guys release now, and that's I think, I don't know, Warner Brothers need to follow that thing, but
I will not doubt that, like it's going to be anything other than amazing, just because I'm a huge fan of the DC animated universe. And at the end of the day, it's interesting because in most cases, Warner Brothers Animation, which would be most of the films are done with Sam Register and Bruce Timm. You know, you guys would know Bruce Timm from Batman the Animated Series and the creator of Harley Quinn. And then obviously Sam Register he heads up Warner Brother Animations, and is the guy behind Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans animation. So they've been doing Warner Brother Animation since forever. What would be interesting would be whether or not one day, rather than those two always heading up all the animation, directors come on board to actually, especially A-list directors, come on board to see whether or not their kind of vision can fit within that universe. I don't know, but still, I'd be super excited to see this.
Should be good. It should be good. At least they got some stuff going on with the DC universe, because we've been seeing loads of Marvel trailers coming out, loads of Marvel things coming out. So it'll be good for DC to just keep in the game. You know what I mean? But moving on, should we just segue into Snyder's Army of the Dead? Have you boys, Kibbs, you said you haven't seen it yet, have you?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I haven't had the chance yet at the moment.
I watched yesterday.
Okay, so no spoilers.
For me.
No.
I don't
no
think
spoilers. No, without spoiling it, Kibbs. I won't say anything about what happens or whatnot. But all I can say is Snyder vision. He's got such a unique vision. One thing I don't want to. It's not a spoiler, but you know what you got on your camera? You got going on now with this with the blurry back. He's got that throughout the movie, and what's so cool about it is it gives you just a focus of a point of focus throughout the whole movie when he's got this vision going on. And I haven't really noticed it in other movies, but I'm like, he's done it throughout the whole film, and it really just allows you to focus on what he wants you to focus. Like whatever's coming from his directional eyes in the scene, right? Yeah. He's allowing the audience to focus on that specific point. I thought that was fucking awesome. And again, without spoiling it, it's not just your typical zombie movie. Yes, it's a zombie movie and you can enjoy that, but there's more to it. And I can't say much because it'll spoil it, but I freaking loved it. And maybe because I'm a Zack Snyder fan, I have more love for his stuff now. But I think in general, it's just it's a freaking good movie. And I love Batista. I'm loving Batista, bro. He's a wicked actor. I don't care. He's a wicked actor. But yeah, that's my thoughts. My non-spoiler thoughts. What do you think, Dax? I was gonna call you Zach.
I'll tell you that I was entertained. I watched both with my girl and my son. I probably shouldn't have watched my son, but like he had his moments where he was like, oh, like okay, cool. But in the end, I was entertained. I loved it. Again, I found it interesting. Again, I got to look into more, but this one, obviously, Zach was also director of photography as well. So again, when you're talking about that kind of effect and all the different looks, like looking from a certain perspective, that I kept wondering. I was like, is he behind the camera? Just kind of, it's just him the entire time. Yeah. Like a minimal crew or whatnot. I do not know, but. I always love his vision. I love the story. I was again pulling up some information just recently. They were talking about, this is kind of interesting. An article came out. Where was it? I'm gonna pull it out again. I think it came out today, where they had talked about. So it's like Zack and Deborah Schneider talk millions required to reshoot Chris D'Elia's Army of the Dead part in wake of scandal, right? So first,
you know about that, Kibbs?
No.
It's interesting. First off, the actress that replaced him, she was awesome. So if for example they spent millions to replace it, then it was well worth it, because her character was really good in it. And then so what I found interesting was that so Chris D'Elia, he's a comedian, right? And I don't know, you'll read in the articles that he was removed because there was a certain scandal going on.
Apparently, he was like texting like 15-year-old girls and stuff back in the days. Like, he was on. He's been all over Joe Rogan's podcast and whatnot. So I hear about it on that scene, and I don't know. It's one of those things, man. Something that caught up with him many years later. As we're in that Me Too sort of place, something caught up with him. I don't think he ever did anything, but there was texts and stuff going back.
He's come out and I said he's had certain problems. The guy's a hilarious comedian, and it's like, to be honest, like that kind of news is kind of disheartening. But he's come out and he's kind of explained his situation. But what I found like ironic was that he was in season 2 of the series. Have you ever watched the series You?
No, I didn't.
No, I haven't. I've heard about it, but I haven't. It's about a stalker or some shit like that, right?
Yeah, it's about a guy who's a serial killer, but he ends up he's not serial killer. He's a stalker, but he ends up killing people, and it gets all messed up. But in season 2, Chris D'Elia plays a comedian who also had been kind of like trying to sleep with underage girls in Hollywood.
Oh shit! So he played himself then.
That's just like the weirdest fucking thing,
there, man. God,
right?
yeah.
But wait. So Dax, sorry. Who was the actress that, without spoiling it, just say who was the actress that replaced him? Was it the woman with the white hair who took him in?
The helicopter pilot.
See, she was awesome.
Yeah,
but that was
cool.
A smooth transition then. I mean, obviously I haven't seen what they did with D'Elia, but that's just a really smooth transition. Kibbs, I know you've been busy, but you will be entertained. It's so good.
I know.
It's not like Walking Dead. Well, Walking Dead's a series, but it's a really good zombie movie, man. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think Zack. I think he did Dawn of the Dead. He plays big homage to the director, famous zombie director. I can't remember his name. It's gone right out. Ramirez, from what I remember. But he's a big director from back in the 70s, 80s who did a lot of zombie movies. I know that Zack pays heavy tribute to his work, and when he did the remake of Dawn of the Dead as well. So I know it's going to be a good film, visually going to be stunning. I know it's going to be funny. Dave Bautista is absolutely awesome. I didn't know about this extra added, this character being taken out and somebody else put in. Man, technology, you got to love that. Because I heard they did that with Kevin Spacey on that movie with Mark Wahlberg, with Christopher Plummer. So they've just replaced him. But Ridley Scott, just like weeks before the scandal came out, just before it hit the cinema, they had to edit the whole film again, which is in ways amazing. But, you're like, oh my God, like the amount of work and time that must go into doing that. And again, the cost of it as well.
Well, that's movie magic, right? I mean, that's what it's about. like at the end of the day, like you'd be surprised, like if you were to study a lot of these shows or films and you were to kind of look at special effects and like green screen, like, and then like most of it, like again, like, you know, like how often is something a location shoot versus like, you know, green screen and real special, like proper special effects, right? You'd be amazed. You'd be like amazed at like what they can do. So, you know.
So I was watching this documentary last night, which I should have watched, Army of the Dead, but we've all been so rough, and I was like, I can't sit for 2.5 hours now. I'm gonna take some medicine. I'm gonna go sleep. But I watched this Marvel documentary regarding the visual effects that went through, and I know now that they have a process which is kind of weird for directors, but it's called previs. So they have everything already digitally drawn up in computer graphics, and then they implement. So basically, the directors that they've picked, all you got to do is direct the actors.
Yeah.
The previs have already done all the action scenes for you, so you just need the guys in the right places, and they got these animatronic cameras that do the exact right angles and things like that. And it's just amazing what they've done, because what they showed, like the Hulk scene they showed me, where you got Mark Ruffalo, you know, in the spotted suit, but they check out his height as well. And I know that there's a lot of work, man, but when you see it, you're like amazed.
Do you know what you boys will love? I started watching Inside Pixar, and that's both down both of your alleys, man. And I'm telling you, they're like little 12-minute episodes, and I just watched the one for Soul, and I was just thinking of you boys. It's like you guys will really appreciate and admire the way they work and whatnot. And the director was saying something, or the writer was saying something about with these Pixar movies. It's no scene is just spoken about. Like if you came up with an idea, it'll be animated. Let's animate it, let's pull it up and let's see if it works. Everything is freaking awesome. But just the creative work and the art, the perspective of art from expressing the character, from his culture and all that sort of stuff, there's so much to it. It's absolutely awesome. You guys should check that one out. Inside Pixar, I think will fit straight into your guys' portfolio and whatnot. One thing I did want to say though, that I found quite funny, that Netflix tweeted, by the way, this is the Snyder Cut. When I think they just threw out there, like, let you boys know, let everyone know, this is the Snyder Cut. No need to
listen. You know what? Netflix is gonna throw him money regardless.
Of course they will.
You know what I mean, they're gonna throw him money. If you're gonna be like, I had an idea yesterday night, and I was thinking, you know what, like, gonna direct this music video with Archer, and it's about his grandma, and it's just made me think about animation and things I can get involved with. But I think I want to do a short soon, like a short movie. I think I'm going to put some ideas together, and I think it's time. I think I just, for my own sake, just to say I've put it out there, I've done it. I want to put a little short out there, something really cool, something like gripping. And watching all of these documentaries just showed me little insights of how I can work a bit more efficient and quick. Because that one yesterday, that it just showed me the process, even though it could take. They had Infinity Wars planned 3 years before they started filming.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's always a lot of pre-production involved. You know, and at the end of the day, it's like, you know, I think again, going back, it's probably sped up, and don't quote me on this, but it's sped up on since Toy Story. Right?
Yeah.
So obviously Toy Story was where animation changed, and it really moved from where tech really took over, and we moved into the world of like 3D animation, right? And Toy Story was one of the first films to prove that we could take a full feature, we could turn a 3D animated like kind of story into a full feature film, and people would fall in love with it. Simply because we were going to touch on their emotions and make these stories relatable, and no better way than to do that with your toys, right? Because everyone's got some kind of connection to that. And so in the end, I believe the process for any kind of animated film back then used to be like 2 years, right? And then it leads you to wonder, well, how is it that like all these films can keep coming out in blockbusters year after year after year. I mean, that's basically like you're churning shit out, right? And as you're churning shit out, it's not like, ooh, here's a film, like let's get started. It's like these ideas all start, well in advance, right? And you start to work, and then they start to overlap, and then as you release one, you're working on another, and so forth, right? And then what's more interesting now is, again, you go into something like, let's say, special effects. You take a look at what Disney Plus is doing with Unreal Engine, and like what they do with The Mandalorian, and then having these like real-time like kind of sets where the environments are around them, and yes, it probably costs quite a lot of freaking money, but at the same time, like everything balances out, right?
That's right.
When you're not happy with a particular shot, your actors are working within the environment that's already there, and if you're not happy with a particular shot, you just have to move the background rather than actually take your whole camera crew and like change a particular angle. So actually your setup is just there, and you just need to revolve everything around. It's like insane, right? So like that's probably going to be the future, and that's where you can see something like shows like The Mandalorian kind of come out year after year, just because they've got these sets, and they've got the like a full like amazing special effects team and everything behind it, that kind of just makes things quicker, faster, and easier. Of course, more expensive. No one wants to do reshoots, but again, it's whoever's got access to this tech, right? And if you've got access to that tech, then you can tell these stories quicker and faster. And it may be pricey at first, but cost effective in the long run, or whatnot, right? Like you don't have to throw millions of dollars to like reshoot, and again, if you're shooting in studio and everyone's there, it's just come on down to the studio and let's
Well, Disney's got the money, all the money in the world, so I don't think they really care about a couple $1 million reshoot. But I'm sure they've thought of strategies to save a couple million with reshoots. But that's awesome. But do check out those other ones, because I think you guys are enjoying. Kibla, what was that Marvel one you saw? I'm gonna watch it. What's it called?
It was actually on YouTube. I'll send you the link once I'm done.
Send me the link. But talking about Marvel, have you boys seen MODOK? The first episode. Have you seen it?
I've only seen the trailer. I haven't watched it yet. Is it out already?
Saw it. It came out Friday.
I saw it. Yeah.
Boys, it was not even in my radar. And then I saw it on Disney Plus because I went on to watch Mighty Ducks, and I was like, oh, MODOK, let me just check it out. Bro, the first scene, I was like, oh my God, I'm in. Like, it's hilarious, bro. From the first scene, I was like, this is not what I expected at all. It's just like the funniest show. And it's a Marvel supervillain, obviously, and it's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Iron Man and whatnot is in it. And I'm just like, this is not what I was expecting, and I fucking loved it. Now I'm just excited to see more of this MODOK show, and it's crazy the way they took it, but I guess it works with an animation and the animation that they've chose to do. But it was such a refreshing. I don't know. Maybe because it was not in my radar, but just to watch it and be so impressed by it. I watched it twice. That's how moist it was. I freaking loved it. Check it out.
It was on Disney Plus or
Disney Plus, the Hulu, the Disney Plus Star or whatnot. So it's got a bit of language and violence in it and whatnot. But the humor is hilarious, bro.
It's just watch Deadpool levels.
Yes, exactly. Yes, yeah. I mean, Deadpool was still a bit of a higher level, but yes, it was just it was like that Deadpool sort of comedy from the beginning.
It looks like it was more of a up-to-date version of like Robot Chicken, because it's all like stop motion, right?
That's right. Stop motion.
To be honest, like you couldn't have gone with a better format or animated style, especially for a character like MODOK, because I mean, I've seen MODOK in a couple of the animated, like, Earth's Mightiest Heroes and stuff like that. And MODOK always becomes like this secondary villain of some sort, and in most cases kind of annoying in the background in a way, right? But obviously here he's the star of the show, and You know, the like again, like all you have to do, like again, just I've only seen the trailer, but you know, if you're going stop motion, then immediately you have room to just take it to wherever you want to take it, like they did with Robot Chicken. So yeah,
watch
excited.
that's watch it. It's less than 30 minutes, and
Yeah.
just watch it, man. I couldn't believe how good it was. It was so funny. And he was so lovable in the thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know nothing about MODOK. I played that shitty Avengers game, which I wasted my life on, but he was the main villain in that shit game. But that's all I know of MODOK, really. I don't know much of him and AIM and all that sort of shit. Hopefully he'll get involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Obviously, it will be a different character than this. But anyway, this made me love MODOK because they hit the nail on the head just to get me in and be entertained with this show. So Dax, make sure you check it out, bro. You won't be disappointed. You'll be entertained no matter what.
So I'm just curious because I don't have Disney Plus here in Hong Kong yet.
Oh shit! Oh yes, it's not out yet. Basic. Okay, my bad.
So I mean I can obviously check it out any way I want. But I'm curious. So did it fall under like the Star tab or was it under Disney? Okay, yeah. So obviously in the States you got Hulu, and then here in Asia you got Star.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of like language in it and a bit of violence, so it wouldn't fall under the Disney. It's a Star thing, but
it's got under the Star.
So, like I said, I wasn't expecting it. I just pressed play. I was like, let me just see, and the first scene, I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like straight away, I was like, this is. I mean, awesome.
we're gonna get loads more cameos, I think, in it. We'll. They picking this style of animation is for me personally is like I just want to keep looking at the screen because, as you said, Dax, with stop motion you could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And for this character as well, because he is again a character that is in the cartoons and he's become like the second B character. He's actually in the comic books very interesting because he links to most of the Marvel universe. So this is a great format to introduce this character to make him more of a lovable villain character, and that's what Marvel has done. They've made us like their villains even more. So good fun, nice watch. Definitely.
That's what's interesting is like, you know, again, like you obviously have gotten so excited on the first episode and the trailer looks funny. And the fact that you could take a character like MODOK and then all of a sudden people love him. You know, it's like I said, like for most of the 2D animation, Earth's Mightiest Heroes and all that kind of stuff, like I'll see MODOK and I'll just be like, oh, okay, I know who MODOK is, right? But then I'll be like, okay, he's just a head in a way, right? But you know, now people get the chance, or like the character now can come to life. So I'm excited to see it. And you know, if he makes people laugh and if he makes people feel like, you know, even better. It just goes to show that there's more coming out of Marvel, especially using different or new formats with different characters, and just really expanding the universe itself. That's great to see.
Yeah, right. I mean, I wouldn't, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have thought anything that comes outside the universe I would enjoy. This one has nothing to do with the MCU universe, and I'm in. I love it. So I'm like, wow, Marvel. I don't know, it's so amazing that, you know, you get people hooked on this universe, and I'm only thinking if it's not in the universe, I don't want to know. But then you got this new thing that comes out, and it's not even in the universe, and I'm like, wow, you got me interested in a whole new character. Probably his attitude and everything is very different to anything else MODOK's ever been in. But I'm invested in a whole new universe if they want to do it. So Kibla, I was watching the one that you did with Get Your Comic On, and he asked a question like, you know, can you imagine in 10 years, like, can the Marvel universe still carry on? And I was like, you know what, if they just keep doing what they're doing, even if we don't have Iron Man and we lost Steve Rogers and whatnot, as long as they make the characters likable, man, we're gonna watch them. Like, look at WandaVision, like they're lovable characters. You want to see more of them. Look at our new Cap, Sam, like you want to see more of him. Like, as long as they keep making the characters lovable, bro, like we're just going to keep on watching. So 10 years down the line, we won't have an Iron Man, maybe we won't have a Captain America, whatever. But as long as we have the love of whichever characters they design or make, and we love them, which they're good at, it doesn't matter. We're gonna watch a whole Avengers
They got a
movie with
massive
none of
catalog,
the
bro.
yeah, exactly, with none of the Avengers that we first started with in there, and it's just gonna be as pumped as it is now. So yeah. Anyway, that MODOK, Dax, do you
It's
watch it?
I'll check it out. It's almost like did you guys ever read the comic? So okay, like you had obviously there was the what if, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and they've got the comic. I mean the series coming out now, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But they did release an edition called What the.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I remember that.
Yeah, so I remember I had one of X-Men, and so they were kind of drawn very cute and like kind of like wacky kind of in a wacky kind of way. So it's kind of almost like, again, looking at MODOK in stop motion, you have room later for maybe What the to come out after what if, which could be kind of cool to see.
Definitely.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it. It was a nice little treat. I know we got loads more with Loki coming out next week or next 2 weeks time. So yeah, we're going to be really busy when it comes to that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Can't wait. I was just thinking, because I was just watching Infinity War, and I was like, you know what? It's going to be interesting with this Loki show, because the Infinity War Loki is a very different Loki than the Avengers first one Loki, because Avengers first one Loki was still a villain. In the Infinity War, he turned. He was actually, he was actually a good guy by that point. So it'd be interesting how they do it. But yeah, looking forward to that. And Marvel, just keep bringing it, man. But the last thing I had on my list, kids, was Mr. Henry Cavill will be playing in the new
McLeod.
Highlander. They can only be one.
Yes. Yeah, man. I remember there was a couple. I think it was like a couple months back. I was drunk, and I was listening to Princes of the Universe, and I was getting really into it. And I did post on Facebook. I was like, I wonder why no one has even bothered to try to remake this film, right? And then now you've got freaking Henry Cavill. Fucking, there can only be one. That's awesome. That's freaking.
Yeah, after The Witcher. Like I see him playing those medieval type roles easy, man. He's perfect sort of physique and facial features for those sort of roles. And I mean, I'm assuming they're gonna go with the whole medieval sort of scenery and whatnot. But
I haven't start off with that. But I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be like continuing, or is it gonna be a full reboot?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the original in ages, man. Christopher Lambert, is that correct? Was it him? Yeah. And Sean Connery. Was Sean Connery in it? No, I'm not talking shit. It was him. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen those movies, man. But hey, listen, I love Cavill, and I think he's awesome, and I just want him to make awesome shit, and I think this will be awesome for him.
I mean, wouldn't it be good to just hear what is it like? My name's Duncan MacLeod from the Clan MacLeod.
That's right.
Like if he says that, like you're just gonna be like, oh shit, that's awesome, right?
It will be definitely. I feel like he will suit it. He will suit this character. I need to see him more in movies like that, because I think he was wicked as The Witcher.
Yeah.
He was wicked as The Witcher. So I feel like this role is like for him. I know online I've seen all the abuse come out already, and it's like, bloody hell, man.
Really?
Yeah, man.
On him playing the role?
Yeah.
I never would have expected that. I thought everyone would just love him for it. But anyway, it doesn't matter who the most lovable guy is always going to get some kind of hate online. But okay, well, let him hate. I'm looking forward to it, man. I don't know what they're going to do with it. And to be honest, a refresher of Highlander would be great. I don't think I'll go back and watch the old ones right now. But
the first one is still good, bro. If you watch it,
I should watch it.
Really
I should. I think
you know what? It's on Netflix now, man. You could watch it. Watch the first two. The first two are good. I know later, but they did an anime. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that, because the artwork of it just looks sick. So now I can see Henry as that character.
Yeah.
So I think it will work, because if it depends on what route they go on. But I can see him as that character.
Yeah, I could see him as it, and I'm happy for him. You know, again, going off of our last chat was with the Snyderverse, and how Henry kept getting flack, and to be honest, once he moved on to The Witcher, he did a great job there. My girlfriend used to be a huge Chris Hemsworth fan. Thor, she'd go gaga for Chris Hemsworth. after
bro,
who would? Yeah, who wouldn't?
After Witcher came out, her whole pass changed to Henry Cavill. and then in the end, it was just kind of all right, cool. So I told her, I was like, oh, he's coming out as Highlander now. So she's already getting pumped for that.
She's already got the tickets
yeah.
ready. Talking about old movies.
He's good with a sword.
The Witcher showed that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I hope. Well, let's see. Hopefully, with the sword fighting, they take it to another level. Just a new age sort of action, and see how they can take it. But yeah, no, awesome, man. Henry Cavill. Talk about old films, man. You know what I watched for the first time properly? I've seen bits and bobs and whatnot, but I watched Rain Man the other day with Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise, and I thought, you know what, I needed something to watch, and I was like, let me just put this on, because the other day I showed my girl Tropic Thunder. I was like, oh, do you want to watch a comedy film that would just that they can never ever make right now, and you have to have an open mind to it? So we watched Tropic Thunder, and then I just couldn't. That scene when Robert Downey Jr. was like, "You can never go full retard." I was like, "This is fucking hilarious," and he can never get away with it because he played blackface and all that shit. He can never do that now. But after he said that, I was like, you know what? I need to watch Rain Man, because I haven't seen the whole thing, and it's actually a brilliant film, and Tom Cruise is awesome in it, and Dustin Hoffman. But yeah, it's I just wanted to bring that up. Yeah, it's a good film. I mean, I'm glad I went back and watched it. But Tropic Thunder, on the other hand, is a comedy genius, and I'm like I said last week, I'm gutted that we're in this day and age where you get banned and fucking cancelled, because you're not gonna get that crazy comedy anymore. Because everyone's scared to do shit because they're gonna get banned. But I'm glad that film came out. Put it that way. I'm glad it is such a good film. It's the best, one of the best comedies out there, man. It's fucking hilarious.
It's great. It's freaking good.
Film is cool. Good. That made me laugh. All right, guys. We'll end it on that note. I want to say a massive thank you to Dax for joining us again and geeking out with us. I know you'll be our regular guest from now on, so I'm just going to call you a host from now on. So he's gonna be. I think, because what I'm gonna do on the next one, hopefully, and I think yes, definitely you need to join. If it's not this week or the next week, I'm gonna do an OBS run and see how that goes.
Okay, yeah.
So
OBS.
I'm gonna give that a go.
Cool.
But yeah, dude, massive thank you, man. Always a pleasure catching up with you.
Yeah, you could throw in some transitions. And,
yeah, that's it. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be on the new Fat Man Beyond, I see stuff every time I watch it, and I'm like, oh man, I want to do that to my podcast. So I've been watching more videos to learn how to do it, and then drop in the transitions and have some nice borders around. Yeah, as always, G-Man, hope you're okay. It's been, I think we didn't catch up properly this week, but it's been a busy one.
Yeah, it's cool. I'll call home anyway. I'll catch up with Alara and whatnot. It's been a while since I've spoken to them and everything. But yeah, I'll call you guys. Everything's cooled off on my side. Wednesday we've got a public holiday, so that should be nice. Short little midweek break. But yeah, no, man, Dax, is awesome to speak to you and catch up with you. We'll catch up more soon, and Kibbs, we catch up soon, man.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, remember, we are on all streaming platforms. I'm not even going to name all of them. But if you do want to see our pretty faces, make sure you check out YouTube. I've actually changed a lot of it. So now you'll see the Brothers Geek Out logo on there. But it's still youtube.com, Qibla Ahmed Art. The links are all in Twitter and Instagram. We're all over the place at the moment now. So massive thank you to everybody who listens in, comments, subscribes, thumbs down, negative, whatever. It's important to know that you guys all play a big part in this. So massive thank you to everybody. Dude, take care of yourself, man. Take care of you guys.
Yeah.
Peace.
See you guys.